Hello there, guys. Sorry about that, but look, I'm going to show you exactly what goes on with my phone and why I keep getting cut out. So if you are an iPhone expert, please give me a common sense, logical explanation for why my phone keeps cutting out. So I'm going to show you now. Oh, there we go. Right, so this is my phone. Oh, you're not going to be able to see the screen now, are you? Oh, am I not going to be able to show you the screen? I'm not going to be able to show you the screen now, am I, after all of that? So basically, as I was saying, but just to, I'm trying to show you what goes on with my phone. So if you can see the screen on my phone right now, my camera's backwards. It's now just reset my messenger and everything, right? So if you can slightly see, if I threw it too much, so now I've got to go back in. Right, let's go back to Crackbook a minute. Right, let me press Crackbook. You watch it open. So this is me on my phone. Look, it's completely, right, here we go. Ready? Still not opening. Still not opening. Still not opening. So what it basically does is my app just disappears, right? And then all of a sudden it comes back. So as soon as my light clicks out, so you will sit there going, what's just happened there? Where the fuck's she gone? So either my battery's really shit on my mobile phone. I'm on my laptop now, by the way. So if you can hear my fan in the background, it's because that is gone. I'm just waiting for it to go, oops, upside the head. Right, so here we go. I'm trying to get back into my Facebook. So like I said a minute ago, if you know iPhones and you can please give me a logical explanation, because I've been back into my phone shop again today. My phone shop knows me very much. And in fact, actually, I even got to speak to the main shop owner who's been through my phone today. And they still cannot find any logical reason for why this should keep happening. Now, my phone guy does know me very well. And he does know what I'm about. And he believes that there are two possible explanations for this. Well, one is because my phone is at limit with memory. However, my phone has been at limit without memory for a very long time. So that is one possible explanation. It would be a good explanation, and I would like that to be the true explanation. And the other one is that bots shut me out when I talk about certain things. Now, we all know, who was it? Carlson. What was his name? Carlson. That's just, there you go. Done it again, look. Here we go. Ready? Now it's letting me in now. I've just said all that. So now I'm talking to you about what's going on with my phone. My phone has now just turned back on. So there is a chance that I've got scanners on me. There you go. My phone is in complete and utter working order now that I have just openly talked on here about the chances of me being scanned. Is it true? I don't know. But the phone shop has completely been through my phone. They've even opened up my phone to make sure that there is no other reason. There's no phones. They've even been into my cloud. They've done all my stuff. And they have said there is no reason whatsoever. What they basically said was, if it was my phone, then all my apps would do it. So literally all my apps would start going and it would just reset if it was my phone. Because it's only ever the one app, and this app is, and here's the other thing, Facebook and Messenger are actually two separate apps, but it shuts down Facebook and Messenger. So because what used to happen is, as soon as it used to shut me down, I then used to PM message Amber, so I used to still stay in contact with Amber via Messenger, but all my apps would be completely closed. My Facebook and social media ones would be shut down. So anyway, now I'm talking about it. It's working completely fine. So it completely froze up as well. So there's a logical explanation, there's a paranoid explanation, but that paranoid explanation just makes you aware. So anyway, I was just saying, and I was just talking on the previous live before about congratulations to the team that hopefully we've got coming on board to give me a hand with some stuff. That'd be absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to working with them. Because I have to get into the studio. It's as simple as that. I need to do some product creation. I basically said on my previous live that I'm not willing to charge my time to people who are in the firing line with social services. I will charge the system, but it's the challenge with being self-employed and working self-employed is that I don't get paid sick pay. I don't get paid holiday pay. I don't get paid because if my kids are off sick, I don't get paid. Unless, this is why you become the director of a company, because then rather than being a sole trader, you get paid a salary to work for your own company. And then that makes things slightly easier because then you're in control of if school rings you. I'm talking about, because obviously today I've been talking about, you know, being a working mum, whether I'm a single working mum or I'm certainly not a single parent. Well, I am. But, you know, Dean, like me, is still trying to get his life back and build his career. And, you know, hopefully this Pete Parsons things will be really good for Dean as well. So, you know, if two people like that can get on, then that would be really good. Not, you know, it's difficult to work with people like me and Dean because we see right through you. And this was the problem that I had with the BBC when we were doing all the Radio 1 Big Weekend stuff and all the unity in the community for Preston and stuff. Go on, Google. What year was it? 2007. So Google, May 17th, 2000, and I've got the pass somewhere. May 2017, 17th of May 2007. I'm sure it was 2007. Might have been 2006, but I'm sure it was 2007. Just Google Radio 1 Big Weekend Preston. And then obviously, you know, I lived in Preston. So, but yeah, what I was basically saying was that the main reason that I started to want to get this information out so much to people and why it's not your fault that you don't know this and why it's only your fault if you choose to not do something about knowing this truth. And that sort of reason, let me give you an example. Say you have a new body every 7 years, then that means, so take this for example. I'm going to drink this coffee, okay? So as I put this coffee, and it is coffee, not barley cup, and milk, that's really shit for my body. But as I put this coffee into my body, as I have just smoked a fag, it's caffeine. Oh, here we go. Ooh, I actually have a normal text message. I'm going to have to reply to this because I think someone bumped into Aaron and Faith's dad or somebody like this. I've just had guess who I saw shopping the other day? An actual personal friend. I'm just trying to track a few people down, so. That will be Aaron and Faith's dad, who I haven't seen in any of this. Hasn't been to see me, hasn't been to speak to me. Other than going into McDonald's when my son works in there and shouting all sorts in there. And as far as I'm concerned, he signed the adoption papers. So I'm hoping to go and speak to him and see him very, very, very soon. I want to talk to him about what went on. Yeah, there we go. So he's still around. Kid's dad. So he's still in Leyland. I need to make a trip to Leyland, guys. Looks like I have confirmed location of Aaron and Faith's dad. And it's about time I went to speak to him about all of this. One of the reasons that I haven't done is he's one of these, because he lives with his mom and all this sort of stuff. But I was told he was gone, blah, 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 blah. Nobody had seen him. Nobody's heard from him. So literally, I just had notification that, cool, he's put loads of weight on. So hopefully that means he's off the drinks and drugs. You always know if someone's clean, they get fat. Cool, so he's clean then. Hopefully. I might get some sense out of him then, because the problem with talking to somebody like my children's father is that you can never guarantee, and don't, you know, this had nothing to do with Aaron and Faith being taken to what was going on. This was my argument with it, by the way. I hadn't seen Aaron and Faith's dad since Aaron was 5 months old, and actually it was always over social, that, you know, that wanted him to have contact with the kids and all that sort of stuff. Had nothing to do with it, nothing to do with that. And it was used against me, and they tried to say I was in this relationship, but Aaron and Faith had not lived in that relationship since Aaron was 5 months old, and Faith was never in it. Like, I'd lived in a completely different home. The consequences of my life was a result of that relationship, but I'd gone already in. I was at Save the Family. I was safe. That was it. I was safe. You know, you can't penalise somebody for coming in and asking for help, and they did. So, but one of the challenges with me always being able to go and approach Aaron and Faith's dad, because at the end of the day, I can talk to him. And Dean says this to me, by the way. Dean says this to me. I did say on the previous one it was going to be a bit of a tangent blog, but there's a reason behind it. But you know, Dean's always said to me about Aaron and Faith, he always says, take it up with their dad. Cool. He sounds clean now. Brilliant. So maybe he'd been in rehab. Who knows? I will continue my private text message in a bit, because my personal friends are my personal friends. They don't, in fact, most of my personal friends don't even have Crackbook. We just text. Do you know what I mean? We don't PM or anything. We just text. And you know, this is why I get so annoyed if people give my telephone number out and stuff like that, because, and this is what I was going to talk to them about the complete overload of so many people, and actually why I wanted to do it on this, because I wanted to show you a video that was on my laptop, and I'm not going to be able to show you it from my phone, but I could have done it the other way around. I'll post it out, but what annoys me though is, even after Aaron and Faith were taken, you know, he was with his granddaughter and his nieces and posting pictures up and stuff. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I'm getting penalised over your shit that affected my life, but your life doesn't change, and you'll be able to go on and have this before Elijah and Shiloh. And I was thinking, like, you're the one that has done all of this. You're the one that's caused this. You're the one that's caused the complete and utter fucking mess in my life. You're the one that's completely crashed my life from, I say you, I take responsibility for getting into the relationship in the first place. You know, but does anybody ever understand what it's like to get involved with somebody who has, I wouldn't even say they have an addiction to drugs. I don't think that is the problem. And I think the whole psychology and the whole mental health has got this wrong. I don't believe that people are addicted to drugs at all. I don't think the problem is an addiction to drugs. And this is where me, psychology, mental health, government, parliament, and everybody disagree, and I can turn around and tell them all the same thing, that my degree and my education and my understanding of this world outranks every single one of you, which is why they like to call me a narcissist. But at the end of the day, they're one-track cellular people. A person who works for the mental health team hasn't necessarily even gone and done a degree. You know, this is something that annoys me. This annoys me that mental health support workers are not coming from. You can't send. You can't send a monkey to do the organ grinder's work? Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. You can't ask somebody to know what a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a counselor, a therapist would all do. You can't fragment mental health that way. You can't expect a support worker to have the level of understanding and education to. And it's exactly the same as any form of care support worker. In fact, the person who's texting me right now, that is what she does for a living. She is a carer. She used to be one of my carers. Most of my carers are my best friends. You know, so you know, you can't say that it was the addiction to the drugs. There was when I met Dean, there was Stephen, there was a lot of going, and I can talk about it because it was in the papers, so they can't tell me I can't. I mean, they can't have a go at me, you know. And it was one of them families that sit around a table smoking, talking about other people. And I don't think they'd ever met somebody like me before. And I don't appease very well to somebody being talked about around a table or in a room, or even in just normal barbecue conversation, which shares certain things of their lives that if they're not telling me personally, then I don't have a right to know. And I've always been like this. And this is something that I've always protected about me. And it's always been something that when I'm in friendships or relationships with people, this is always something that's very important to me. That's very true to my core values and beliefs, and that is that one of the reasons that I decided to just go bang, just put it out there, is because it's very difficult to choose who you talk to about different levels and different parts of your life. And no, we're not meant to give our whole selves away to everybody. And this is one of the things that, you know, I said I'm going to go around the houses and talk about a few things tonight. And why this video that I watched of TJ Jakes, actually, whether it be a wolf or not. I like TJ Jakes and I like Joyce Mears, whether people think they're wolves or not. But I do. I like them, and they make sense. They're not trying to be churches, they're ministries. It's different. Grow up, sort yourselves out. But and for somebody who's diagnosed as autistic, I like social media. So actually what he was saying about the overwhelming of social media, I prefer it this way rather than be out there. So for somebody like me who can sit in her house at 7:30, if you said to me now, let's go get ready and go, there's a really, really great party I want to go to tonight, and I would have been quite happy to have gone to this rave tonight. I'd have been quite happy. I'm really glad the kids are doing it, and I'm really glad it's happening, and they are having a bit of a secret garden party rave tonight. They're only getting until 4 o'clock in the morning. We tend to do ours right the way through until the next day, do you know what I mean? But like, you know, I would have loved to have gone. It would have been great. It would have been good. But it's a challenge, and this all comes together in what I'm saying as well now, and it's to do with the amount of people that you have around you. And it's really, 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 really important to have a handful of really good quality friends and people that you have around, because it's really difficult for somebody like me to come on and have the same people every day, or walk down outside my house here and deal with so many people. You know, even just, yeah, I actually was coming on live at 9 o'clock tonight, and I just couldn't, because a proper full-blown fight kicked off out the front there, and then another one kicked off out the side there. And then there was a few other things. So you got me at the window, and I cut it really quickly. I just go, "Oi, get it in a boxing ring." And most of the time it just disperses that anger, doesn't it? So, and this is what I'm sort of talking about with, I wasn't expecting to find out that Aaron and Faith's dad is around. So that's going to be my first point of call of thanks. I need to raise some funds and get to Leyland, or go and speak to him. But again, here comes this line again, you know, I want to go and speak to him. So the question is, will he speak to me? And one of the reasons that I've never gone there before was because, I mean, it's like one of the things that caused for me to have challenges as well was, I was private renting. And when Stephen and I separated, we had a joint Barclays bank account together. And I wasn't self-employed or anything like that. I was at university. I had graduated from uni. I had previously had my office in the University of Unity and Community. This was the complete tumble while I was at the point of, I have to get me and my kids out of this situation immediately. You know, we're plummeting into a way now where I have no security and no infrastructures and no foundations and no routine. And it was even getting to the point where, you know, every time we went out, even I would look at his drink in the corner and go, you know, I'm only talking a sip, but it was like, frick, come on, I got to deal with this today. Like, this is too much. This is too. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody here that's ever been in a relationship with somebody who has had a secret drug relationship, or been drug dependent, or tried to live in a home with somebody who their way of doing stuff and coping with stuff is not the way that you do, and you have to live with things in your home that you don't like. Actually, I'm not actually a smoker. Even though you see me picking up butts and smoking, I am not actually a smoker. I didn't actually start smoking until I was 24, and it was because I started smoking cannabis as a medicinal, and I'm legally, you know, prescribed if I choose to do so. But I'd got into smoking cannabis and then addicted to nicotine, or I say addicted because it's not actually what creates it. What creates it is that it's the elimination of the pain. And this is where, I mean, if I write books, I would completely revolutionize psychology altogether. People are starting to listen to little bits, but they're not listening into it all, and they don't like people like me because, one, I come from a naturopathy point of view. I come from a natural law point of view. I come from, you know, prior to the prison of your mind. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they've done to you. They've like encaged your mind into this like program per se, that makes it so you don't even know whether or not you're capable or able to even actually make a decision. And to make a decision is a really powerful thing to do, because once you make a decision and you make it concrete, you invoke the entire fucking universe to correspond with the outcome of the choices that you've made, and it will move into action in such a way that is, some people would want to say magical. I'm not into magic, I'm into science, but like, it will move in a way that if you understand what you're doing, and you know what you're doing, But the challenge is the majority of people now, especially our kids now, which is why they are the way that they are, because immunizations didn't go on for a long time, which is why I'm trying to say what I was saying with the coffee. So if I put this coffee into my body, if I smoke this fag, you know, if I was drug alcohol dependent, and people who do go through drug alcohol dependency like units will know, everybody knows that you're waiting for that level of days on when you do a urine sample or a hair sample or a blood test to show when it's out of your system. So if you can put something into your body that completely comes out of your system, then ultimately your body is just a vessel for what you choose to do to it. So I have even seen children born with Down syndrome where parents have labeled their child Down syndrome and others have just seen their child. The one that's labeled Down syndrome looks like a child with Down syndrome. The one that isn't doesn't. Okay. And also whether they grow up themselves to just be a Down syndrome person or just to be Greg, who was born with a chromosome change that was very grateful to the person that understood this and designed it, but he's still Greg. And I say Greg because my friend was called Greg, who was born with the chromosome of Down syndrome. And why I got so passionate, I don't know if any of you have ever watched the film The Secret. In fact, let me just pull something up. And a couple of my friends wrote this, by the way. And a lot of people are quite anti The Secret. And there's a lot of new agey people that don't like, I want to keep that open. So, in fact, let me just get it on my phone. It'd be easier if I could, because I actually can't, unless I can see myself, I can't actually, and I'm actually looking at myself, but once the screen disappears, I'm no longer here, if that makes sense. So I'm one of these people that if you're not in my world here, you don't exist. So that comes from people leaving as well. But when you get to 41, you tend to realize that actually when people go out the door and they don't return within 24 hours, that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're never going to see them again. But when you've dealt with, you know, fathers leaving, mothers leaving, and all of this, you know, whether it be 4 years or whatever, sometimes they come back. Let me just, I haven't put this on for years, The Secret. I wanted to get one particular passage from it. My friend Melissa will show you when I first met Morris. I'm not interested in anything other than Morris and this man. And I was saying about sitting in the wheelchair, but just listen to this for a bit. It's only a couple. You might only hear my fan.
Well, my story begins on March 10, 1981. It really changed my whole life. It was a day I'll never forget. I crashed an airplane. I ended up in the hospital completely paralyzed. My spinal cord was crushed. I broke the first and second cervical vertebrae. My swallowing reflex was destroyed. I couldn't eat or drink. My diaphragm was destroyed. I couldn't breathe. All I could do was blink my eyes. The doctor, of course, said all my life I'd be a vegetable. All I'd do is blink my eyes the rest of my life. That's the picture they saw of me, but it didn't matter what they thought. The main thing was what I thought. I pictured myself being a normal person again, walking out of that hospital. The only thing I had to work with in the hospital was my mind. And once you have your mind, you can put things back together again. I was hooked to a respirator, and they said I'd never breathe on my own again because my diaphragm was destroyed. But this little voice kept saying to me, breathe deep, breathe deep. Finally, I was weaned from it. They were at a loss for an explanation. See, I could not afford to allow anything to come in my mind that would distract me from my goal and from my vision. Well, I set a goal to walk out of the hospital on Christmas. That was my goal. Eight months later, I walked out of the hospital on my own 2 feet. They said it couldn't be done. That's a day I will never forget. For people that are sitting out there right now watching this program that are hurting, if I wanted to sum up my life and sum up for people what they can do in life, I would sum it up this way in 6 words. Man becomes what he thinks about.
That's my friend Morris. So anyway, back in 2004, I think it was, I started waning again with my health. So it was about this time that they then tried to get me under a psychiatrist to say that I had to accept the conditions that I was born with. And if I kept pushing myself the way that I did, that I was being unrealistic and that this isn't a condition that I can beat. It isn't a condition that you can pretend that the good days outweigh the bad, and eventually the bad days are gonna upside us the head, and that's it. So the day that I was only a parent to Liam and Daniel at the time. I was second year of university, and even the university had sized up to say, look, you can do all of your lectures, all of your tutors, we have wheelchair access. The only thing that they were saying was first aid wise, because of my respiratory, and you can hear my voice changing again already. So because of that the library, I had to let like the first aiders know. If I went into certain buildings, I used to have to let them know that it was here. Now, one of the things that I really hate about this system with having my condition is I have to constantly keep producing new medical records. It keeps me constantly focused on what I can't do, and I don't like that. In 2010, I became part of a big pilot study that proved the power of the recycling of your entire new body. And it was agreed that the people that I was working with knew the conditions that I had, knew the limitations. And it was like going into, say, Lara ran the marathon, but Lara couldn't have just gone and ran the marathon by herself and turned up at that marathon and gone and run it and gone to the end. Lara had to work very clearly with the specialists of EDS and stuff to go through that, and that's the decision that I made. But I was working with Professor Greg Oshua in Germany, who is the leading specialist who doesn't actually know about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And this is where I believe that some of these conditions come in, and I've been banging on about this for years and years, and people don't listen. And that is that we have historic DNA trauma, and that our parents' trauma not only is passed on to us genetically, but is passed on to us through observational learning, and also the way that our parents deal with us as well. It's like, I know Dean loves me, but Dean's fear of losing me and insecurities of losing me and building a life with us, and also having to get to know another part of the family and losing stepchildren as well, because he's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. That then means if I ever say I did go to this party tonight, and I spoke to Dean tomorrow, and he said, oh, what did you do? And I said, oh, I went to this party. He wouldn't be interested in anything that I did. He'd have to shut that down immediately, because all he's interested in is, did I come home with somebody? Was there, did I get chatted up by somebody? And because he doesn't want to know those questions, it gets completely shut down. And, and people can turn around and go, oh, that's narcissistic, or, oh, that's DV and all of this. People have trauma, and they have trauma from, and you do it in relationships as well. You pass this trauma into your next relationship that isn't that person. So, and this is exactly the same with drugs as well. The person isn't addicted, or alcohol. The person isn't addicted to the drugs or alcohol. The person is fearful of the level of pain that they're going to have to experience if they can't mask that pain through the drugs or alcohol. This is revolutionary. Why so called psychiatry? And it's not even revolutionary. We've been banging on about this for years and 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 years. But psychology and the pharmaceutical companies would lose too much money to have one diagnosis and not actually have to medicate people. Because if you're diagnosed with narcissistic, you're medicated. If you're diagnosed as schizophrenia, you're medicated. If you're diagnosed as multiple personalities, you're medicated. If you're diagnosed with depression, you're medicated. If you're diagnosed with borderline personality, you're medicated. If you're diagnosed with ADHD, you're certainly fucking medicated. And they've already admitted that was the biggest fraud of a diagnosis. Most ADHDs are musicians and dancers, but all of these stems of the branch per se. So take it back to the tree again. If you and I am developing a stutter, by the way, this is not good. So if you, and I had a stutter as a kid when I was traumatized. So if I'm redeveloping a stutter again, then I certainly need to go and finish these books. So if you have a tree, you, the human being, the tree, and you have somebody observing you and looking at all of your branches and trying to find the perfect apple on this tree, and going, oh wow, this apple is a bit rotten. Wow, this apple is a bit rotten on the left side. So we are going to say that this apple has leftism. What about this apple? This apple is bruised on the right, so there we're going to call it rightism. Wow, we've got a bit of a cure for this. But you're then going to give it different things, when actually if you just treat the root, then you don't get rotten apples. Do you know what I mean? So you can't relabel them apples a different brand just because it's bruised differently. It's still come from the same tree. It's still either a Golden Delicious or a Granny Smith or whatever, that only again got labeled because it was Granny Smith that took the time to grow the tree and produce the tree. But all of a sudden now these apples are named after Granny Smith. Granny Smith just took that apple's real true name away from it, and we now know this beautiful green apple as the Granny Smith. This is no different to you being diagnosed with all of these different labels and all of these different things that existed is just because Granny Smith grew an apple tree and packed it in such a lovely way and then they had a nice old granny on the front of it and branded it, just like Christmas, really. You know, why do we have a big red Father Christmas? Well, we had a big red Father Christmas because he was the mascot for Coca-Cola, because prior to that he was green, and then all of a sudden Coca-Cola came along and wanted to sell lots and lots and lots of Coke. So I think they put it with Jack Daniels, didn't they, or brandy or something like that. And this big ho man came in from out, you know, being a good day's work of handing lots of. In fact, actually, Father Christmas was a paedophile because he had all the children sitting on their laps, and he was tucking them away in bed at night and used to come down the chimney. And actually, it was as if you go way back. But I'm not talking about Saint Nick and all this sort of stuff. I'm talking about the ideology that Coca-Cola had with this. And the sexualization of children and the normal. See, you know, obviously now we say that children can't sit on Santa's lap, but you know, another conversation, another time. But at the end of the day, the reason that we all now have a big Santa that is lying to our children, that is raising our children to grow up denying them the things that they want, denying them, because we, the parents, have to turn around to our children to say, wait for Christmas, Father Christmas will bring you that. So ultimately, from pretty much of a young age, we start lying to our children, and that means that our children then don't develop as proper healthy people, because they look at their parents, whether we understand this or not, but it is true. And they look at their parents thinking, wow, you lied to me for all this time. How do I know what else you say to be true? Because if you can lie to me about something that's pretty much just groomed and molded the entire way that somebody may live or shape, or, you know, whether or not they've you know, right here, right now, they've got a project to do, and it's like April, and they really need this camera for this project because it's really damn fucking important, and actually going to change years in schools round now. And it's, this camera is everything to this little girl, but she has to wait for Christmas. And then that Christmas, that you know, it doesn't come, and it's still there, and you know, and you got to wait for Christmas. Or what you tend to do to your kids actually is you tend to give them shit at Christmas. But the reason that we do this, and we do this, is because Coca-Cola, basically, no different to the Michelin man for Dunlop tires or Michelin tires or whatever they were. So basically, here's Kelly Cottam sitting here as a non-actor, and all of a sudden all of a sudden I go and put a nice big red coat on, and I sit down and I enjoy my brandy and Coke, as I think it was with Coca-Cola at that time. I think it was an advert to get you all pissed and drunk. And then the mascot of Coca-Cola, of Santa Claus coming in with his sleigh, and all of this was all designed by Coca-Cola. And we lie to our children and all of this. And I just think it's really, really difficult when you start bursting people's bubbles, because people don't like their bubbles being burst. And I didn't like my bubble being burst either. I haven't cut out. How did I cut out? Am I still here? I've got a text message to say I've cut out. Am I still here? Someone let me know. Am I still here? I'm just talking to myself. I don't mind talking to myself, actually, because I'm just going to have all these all edited out. And I've had a message to say I've cut out. It'd be handy if someone lets me know. My internet looks fine. I'm still talking. The digits are still going around. And the little hand thing is not here, so... And I still can't continue on my phone because it's still locked out, as you can see. It's just logged me out now, and in fact it's, oh seriously, now I've got to put my telephone number in and stuff. I'm back apparently. So anyway, my point being with all of this is that you are a human being, I am a human being, and one thing that I really don't like about this system is, and anybody who's been under social services, please tell me this, that when they set an appointment with you, it's not like you can just go about your normal day and just get on with your life and attend an appointment. What it does is it creates like a net, you know? So say you're on child protection per se. Child protection is only actually 6 months, right? So that's actually only 6 meetings. So you basically attend a core meeting once a month, and the social worker comes out to see you. They have 12 weeks to do a parental assessment. Hang on, they have 12 weeks to do a parental assessment. And then, so is that 12 weeks? Hang on. So how long's 12 weeks? So 4, I can't do maths the way you people do maths, 2 seconds. So 4, 8, 16. So it must be, there's 3 months on something. So they basically have so long to do the parental assessment on you. And in order to do that assessment, if it's child protection, I think they have to do 3 unannounced visits. And this is why when people say about these unannounced visits, they legally underneath this do 3 unannounced visits. So if you kick them off the way that you do, then actually you've just stopped them from doing their parental assessment. And if they can't do their parental assessment, then they can't sit back in front of the chair and say everything's okay or everything's not, or this is what this should suggest. And also, and again, why it's important. So before I go, I just want to play some of this video that I was watching today. I don't want to lose the one that I'm currently watching because I've paused it. And I'll share it out as well. And it's called, I think it's called Leave Them Alone. And I think TJ Jakes must have had a bit of a hard day being active on social media. And there's something that's quite poignant in this that he says. And he's basically talking about us as human beings being completely overcrowded.
Psychologically, I don't think that it is healthy to have all of those people in your space all the time, in your life, in your head. That's too many people. That's too many people with too many opinions and too many ideas and too much concept, and it's absolutely crazy. And I think that's why we're all stressed out and we're nervous and we can't sleep at night and our digestion is all, and you got to take a pill for everything. We have made GNC rich. We could save a lot of money if we start putting people out of our lives. It's too crowded. It's too much, it's too loud, it lasts too long, 24 hours a day, news coming at you around the clock. I don't need to hear from you at 3 o'clock in the morning. I need to go to bed. I grew up with the 6 o'clock news. You heard the news while you was eating dinner, and that was it. If they didn't get it in an hour, it didn't happen. 24 hours of you telling me over and over and over the same thing again and again is driving me crazy. Am I the only one, but is there anybody else that is just sick and tired of this craziness? Have we lost our mind?
Yeah, I'm coming back over to you. So I will share that video because it's really good and it's really powerful, and the way they do it is really good. And I've been saying from day one, I need fundamentals and foundations, and social media doesn't work for me because it causes me a lot of overload and stuff like that. But I, as a person, like to work on social media. It works really well for a mother at home to use social media as a tool. But in order to do that, somebody like me isn't actually public. We have a complete hidden world, and you have to pay to go into that world. And we occasionally give a few breadcrumbs that lead you to find us. I'm going to have to go back to that. Now, that means that I'm going to have to say bye to a lot of the parents and a lot of the people that are here. And the reason it's not bye for good. I will see you at the reading for the children's inquiry, and I'm hoping to go on the panel with that. But I used to have a bit of an issue with how people used to have gatekeepers around them, and like musicians and artists and actors and all this sort of stuff. And I used to like the whole Christian world where we didn't have that. But what I have noticed is it's really, really, really difficult to have a routine. And I've got children, so it's not like with me where I just get up, go out the door, and my children go into nursery and I'm in my office, and then bang, I finish work and then I come home. I am 24/7 me, and I'm building something different, and I want to be able to sell products, not my time. I don't want to have my time owned by anybody. I don't want to have to turn around and say, for 6 hours, it's going to cost you this amount of time for me to come in. I don't want to sit down with somebody and have to go through a job description where I've got a half-committed attitude to somebody's hopes and dreams. And to anybody who goes and works for somebody, there's a director of that company behind there who, you know, was building something to build for their family, to be able to build their dreams, that went and built a business that, you know, created positions and jobs for other people to have the opportunity to have good jobs and, you know, for their families and stuff like that. So, you know, if you are going to do something and you're paid to do it, then do it well, whatever it is that you choose to do. You know, I struggle with the fact that actually I have to employ people, and I have to employ a lot of people. What I do is going to create probably nearly 10,000 jobs, you know, probably even more than that. But yeah, ultimately, the projects of this is probably about 10,000 jobs, because I need coordinators in every city, every town, every place, and trainers and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Train the trainers and coordinators and speakers. And so yeah, so this week having, I don't know, I'd like to work for Dean, and maybe I still will work for Dean and Dean be out there, but I at the moment have to take an attitude that I can work faster than Dean right now, and Dean shouldn't be out there on the streets. As simple as that. And me as my partner, you know, I can't allow this to continue with Dean having to meet strangers or go through lists of friends that can probably put him up in that particular city or town. It might be a gallery that he needs to get to, you know, it might be a festival that he needs to get to, you know. From where we are right now, to pay £120 to attend an event to go to sort it, and I know how tiring it is having to, you know, hustle and you know, network and all that sort of stuff to get to where you need to get to. When I went to Success Resources, the reason that I chose Success Resources is because if you're a coach and a speaker, if you haven't spoken on the National Achievers Congress platform, you're not a coach and speaker. It's the same as TEDx. You know, if you're a speaker, if you've not spoken on TED, then that's it. Or or media. I mean, I can actually put up on my social media pretty much every media because, you know, people like to do that. If you've had an article in the media, or if you've spoken on the media, or if you've done that, in my world, it's very important to put that up there, because if you don't put that up there, then you're not considered the difference between a £35 an hour, £75 an hour, and somebody who charges £1 million for their hour. Is £1 million for Tony. It's £1 million for an hour of his time. Simple as that, mate. He will not get out of bed for less than £1 million an hour. And he makes people £1 million an hour. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, either they have the rights to do so, because it's like even startups made lots of money. Startups made a lot of people a lot of money. And what annoys me, and I understand why Dean gets so upset as well, because like the BBC have fucked both of us over, really, probably because we were both going out a long time ago. But or we did. But in fact, I brought Jimmy Savile back. That was part of what I did. My friends at the time, for people who don't know, but well, my boyfriend at the time, actually, a guy I was dating, his brother was the producer. I should have fucking bet one year. It was so stupid of me, because the like, what's the award for Sportsman of the Year is actually known like months before the public do. Do you know what I mean? Like months before. So we were all at a barbecue one day, and obviously I said, oh, I should go to the bookies and put a bet on that, really, shouldn't I? I think it was Sport Woman of the Year that year. And I said to him about Jimmy Savile. And he said, it will never work. I said, it will, you know. I said, if you bring him back, it will bring people out the closet. So lo and behold, Jimmy Savile was brought back for one showing, and all of a sudden people come out of the woodworks and things have happened. So, but like, what was I going to say? I don't know. All I want to say to the people that watch these lives is, as I've been doing this, I've just pulled the thing off my trousers, and I've done a bit of a noose. Well, it's not actually, because I haven't even tied it yet. But I was asking you earlier on where your beliefs and values and systems come from, like why you believe the way that you do and why you live the way that you do. And if you imagine on this, I can't think if I can actually do it, but before I go. Now, right now, that could be turned into a knot, okay? And when we go through things and traumas, it can get us a little bit knotted up, right? And the way this is right now, it's very, very easy for me to pull this and give it a bit of a tug and straighten it up, yeah? And it's good and it's fine when we get back on course. But the problem is every time we keep throwing our energy into what we don't want, 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 what we do is we turn it into a knot. And then we turn it into another knot, and then another knot. And then eventually, we've either got to decide whether we've got to throw this piece of string out, or whether actually we can take the time to sit. It's like Christmas lights. And fucking undo every single damn fucking knot that one we've caused ourselves, or we've allowed other people to get us knotted up. And it just starts getting really frustrated that we just don't do it. So we carry on with the knots, yes? And what I'm basically saying to you is, as hard as it is to get your head around, everything that you're pissed off with right now isn't what you think you're pissed off with. And actually, it's just what you churn in your head and the battlefield of your own mind. And this is why I said I need to be absolutely sculpted like a bullet, because one of the problems with social media is that you will meet many, 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 many people, and they will all have an opinion. No different than social services, no different than anything that you do, work, here, anything. no different. And it will be like trying to swim across a river, which can actually be done, but you're either going to get swept with the current if you allow people to tell you it can't be done, or you will not even bother to try. And the people that I'm talking to is the people who never ever bothered to try. And I'm going to continue talking, and I'm going to have to bring Step Up Britain back as a business, I'm afraid. But as I have said, if you are by social services and stuff, then I'm going to have a look at this. But what annoys me is there's all this stuff and all this free stuff for people on benefits. There's fucking nothing to support and help the working class, you know. And you know what? Like, we fucking having to work and struggle with our issues and sort problems and blah, 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 blah. But there should be no up, top, bottom. So I'm going to pretty much probably spend my time bringing Startup Britain back out and getting as many of you back into Startup Britain. And I'm going to go and see if I can go and start back up on Startup Britain. It's probably changed over to boards of directors and stuff. I probably won't even know the people involved now, because the problem is if you make yourself a director of a company, the boards of fucking directors can kick you out. And there lies my challenge. So I can't access this at all now. So, but let's just say I'm a very wealthy woman in another life. So I need to get back to being that very wealthy woman, because I could do so much more. Like, if I'd had 550,000 in my bank account during the July Forced Adoption Awareness Month, then you'd have all had free packs with t-shirts in them and banners and all sorts, and step-by-steps on what to fucking do. And I would have come round to your bloody house and done it if need be. But, you know, you've got to work with what you got, haven't you? So my situation is a bit challenging. But hopefully Pete Parsons is going to get involved, and so is Mickey Sutton. And if not, I have to get in contact with these guys and have a chat to them about Graham. So anyway, it's Saturday night. I hope you've all had a great Saturday night. If you're waking up in the morning watching this, I don't know if you watch these lives, don't know if you do watch these lives, but I'm going to literally, just before I go, I'm going to post down. But I don't necessarily agree with a lot of these things, because sometimes it can just be overwhelming. But for me, I would rather have my life at home and work on the internet than go into an office where I've got to sit on a chair all day while my child's in creche, nursery, school, and deal with lots of people that I don't particularly want to be around or do want to be around, and then feel completely pulled between my family life and my children. And I've got friends that travel the world off the laptop, so that's the direction I'm going to go in, I think. So going to be lots of changes for me coming over these next couple of weeks. I don't quite know. I'm just going to post that video thing for you. I'll post it on my Crackbook as well. So can hear now. So it sounds like there's been quite a lot of messages issues on here anyway. So yeah, all I want to say, guys, is really, 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 really work on this mind, because it's a battlefield out there, and it's a war on your mind. 100% is a war on your mind. Like Morris said on your video, is when you can put your mind in order, you can put everything in order. When you have control of your mind. So they will have you constantly in conflict. And I'm going through it myself, so I understand. When Aaron and Faith were taken, the psychologist said, Kelly is so preoccupied with her career that she would end up putting the needs of herself beyond the needs of her children. This statement has completely fucked up every decision that I make right now. And today I have warred with it, tormented with it. Also with Dean, Dean's ex has always told me, if you think you'll ever work while you're with Dean, you've got to have a laugh. Dean does not believe in his women working, and he doesn't. Dean does not believe in women working. I am to pretty much sit here and wait for every penny that he brings to me, or survive on benefits. And yeah, he's not married to me. He has no commitment to me whatsoever. So until he does, I'm a working mum, and I still have his children. I disagree with the way that we're going to have to raise the children now, but that wasn't the agreement when we got together. So I'm getting a bit sick and tired. This is now the fourth relationship that I've had where the agreement when we get together is not the agreement once they've either married me or we've had children together. And I really don't like this this whole attitude. And it's not about being a cat woman. I don't have an issue with being a cat woman. What I have an issue with is when my inspirations and projects are denied because I have to ask somebody else to fund it because, one, I have a physical condition which makes certain works a challenge. And I'm having to learn new skills to try to do other stuff, and that's fine. I think that's my daughter, might be my son coming in. He'll ring my phone if it is. I thought he was out for the night now. But at the end of the day, even in this situation now, the system, social, are the ones that told me I'm not allowed to work. So if I've got social telling me that I can be a mum as long as I don't work, then it makes things really difficult, because if then I'll have to work, then, it makes that a bit challenging again. So at the end of the day, none of them are right. So I've made the decision, I'm going over to that courtroom, and at the end of the day, they know full well that if I'm diagnosed with Asperger's, that I will take whatever you say to me literally. And I have to constantly go through this battlefield because I know that's part of my condition, so I will try to overrun it. And when you're dealing with so many people, you can't do that. You can't take people literally. And it's very, 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 very difficult for somebody like me to look at somebody and be able to tell whether what they're telling me is a complete truth or whether they're lying to me. And I don't like to have to second guess somebody as well. So if you lie to me about one thing, and that could just literally be, when I say lie to me, you could say to me, hi, I see you at 6. So to me, that means I'll see you at 6. Now, if you text me at 5:45 to say I'm running late, I'll be 5-10 minutes late, that's fine. But to me, that means you'll be 5-10 minutes late. So if they're then not there, then it becomes a very challenging situation for somebody like me, because then I don't know whether to move or go. And in fact, I've even actually sat for a very long time waiting for somebody, purely because I didn't want to leave, and then all of a sudden they've turned up and I've got all the way back because they were like 8 and they really tried their best to get to me. But never, and it's a difficult one. You'd have to come from my point of view to be able to get it. But if you say something to me, then I expect that that's going to be the outcome. So if you say you're going to join me for a July Awareness Month, and then I accept that that means that I'm going to see your profile changed over to an X, and you're going to do the 3 things that are needed for that. What it doesn't mean is sit back, watch me fall on my face, struggling, trying to do the best damn thing that I can. But hey, it makes me look like there's more than there is when I tag somebody like Nadim and stuff like that. So maybe things do get done because people think that I can move bigger than I am, when actually I'm not. So who knows? So anyway, I'm twiddling my fingers. I don't particularly know what to do with myself. My kids are asleep. They're going to be asleep all night until the morning. I'm in a room with no TV. I've got a few DVDs, which some work, some don't work. Joys of borrowing them from a charity shop, a laptop, but I really don't want technology around me right now. I'd love to sit and write with my hands, but my fingers don't work properly, so that's out. But I'm slowly starting to write. So I'm getting there. Need to get a proper tape recorder, high quality, so it doesn't, natural speaking dragon doesn't bother with my changing my voice. So yeah, thanks to Ding today. You know, sent us some money, 35 quid, got some nappies, bits and food. So ultimately, they say I can't work. They didn't say I couldn't make money. So where there's a will, there's a way. So is making money working? I don't know. So I need to get into a studio. I need to make some products. I need to make these products sellable, which basically means creating. Might even have somebody, if somebody else is there. Yeah, I have 2 seconds. I'll show you. So I've got Lucy Bradbury's here. So this is basically product creation. So it means people like me have to write books, and then we have to put our books onto CD things, and then basically we go along and speak, and rather than charge for our time speaking, we have our products. So it'll be our books, our products, any quotes that we have on things like magnets, stuff like that. And then part of that product creation then is, so you'd have to understand the business school for coaching trainers, which is pretty much what I just left when I was implementing this with Aaron and Faith. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm going to restructure it all again, and I'm going for it again. I warn any police officer or social worker who monkey grinders is sent to me to aggravate me in any way, shape or form, that if you touch my children, you die. Not by me, by the father. Simple as that. That's the way it stands. So, and also I do if I fuck up and screw up. It's as simple as that. It's the way he rolls. So this is basically product creation. So I need to get into a studio. Dean needs to get into a studio. I can't keep carrying on social media anymore. I have to have fundamentals and foundations in. Otherwise, I'm just a waffle sitting on a crackbook, and I need to use crackbook. It's like, I mean, even no disrespect to David the other day, but you know, like I really need to get on with my t-shirts and take my t-shirts very, very, very seriously. You know, ultimately this all comes from Step Up, which is my company, and even False Adoption Exposed comes from my company. All of it, you know, I was involved in this before Aaron and Faith were taken. Like, so, you know, I take the level of what I do very, very, very seriously, and no disrespect to Amber as well, but I can't have all this free working thing for me. I need to whip your ass, mate. If you're not working to a level that, you know, my office needs, I have every right to hire, fire, move people in, change people over. You know, if a job's got to be done, a job's got to be done. It's as simple as that. I just can't work at this level. I was offered 24 million for Challenge Britain when it first come out by government, and I chose to allow for those in the benefit system to build it rather than them bringing in, you know, the best of the best for each position. They said I was absolutely crazy. Like they said I was absolutely mental to make this decision. And even like Bob Proctor and everybody said to me, you're not going to be able to do this going through it as you do it. You're going to have to build it get it done, make the money, and then go back and help them people. You can't do that. And I said, we don't have time for that, because if it carries on the way that it's going, and if they do kick the benefit system the way that I know they're going to do so, there's going to be like so many people that don't have the skills to make money, wouldn't know where to start in being self-employed or running a business, or how to work with their community to make sure that all their needs are met. And, you know, like if you take the benefit system away from, say, what people call the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so people that have just been born into the benefit system that don't know anything different, and people with learning difficulties and stuff, where they actually are able to, and when it comes to the system, this is the bare necessity. Can you wipe your own bottom? Do you need somebody to come in? Are you homebound? Like, can you provide yourself with food? Like, can you actually cut veg and provide yourself with food and go shopping? Or even if it's not go shopping, can you, and they'll even, you know, because carers and stuff is going as well for adult and children. It's this is why we have to impact on this now, because I don't think people understand, because you're not going to hear the stories one by one by one. A lot of people have taken their lives already. I don't know what the statistic count was, but if Amber, if you can please put, you know, what is the known statistics from the austerity sort of stuff, and the people that have already gone through this. I mean, I've gone through it, but I'm still here telling you about it, and where I'm getting these little avenues from, and how I'm picking it up, and, you know, how I'm bridging little bits of gaps where a lot of people would just hit that brick wall and not be able to continue from that particular point. Or if you are medicated, it's very, very, very difficult to make a decision. And what it can do is it can keep you in a state of confusion. And if you can't have that clarity to make a decision, then you can't invoke your action into that decision and the way that it's going to go. If I make the decision that I'm going to get up and go and make myself a new coffee, then I have to actually make that decision and commit to it. If not, I'll just sit here and I'll keep chatting. But if I say, look, guys, hey, I really need a coffee, I've made the decision to do that, then I'm going to go through all of the actions that it takes to make that coffee. I might get distracted along the way if the kids wake up or something like that. And that distraction might take me away from making that particular coffee. But ultimately, I might go and do it another time. I haven't got a kettle, so I can't put a kettle on it, so microwave. So I don't mind microwaving it or putting it in the microwave. It's a microwave coffee, and I have no sugar, and it's Liam stuff. I don't even got quick coffee. Liam works at a hairdresser, so he bought some 3-in-1 sachets back that they use in the salon. So I've just thrown it in the microwave. But ultimately, that decision has to be made. If I say that I think I want a coffee, or maybe I might have a coffee, or I could have a coffee, or should have a coffee, that's not a decision. You know, I might get my kids back, I could get my kids back, maybe I could go to court about it, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. I mean, in fact, I only see one person out there actually logging and writing bits from the book. You know, I should see everybody's feeds, like Charlotte's. And again, it's a kid. She's not a kid, she's graduated from college, but Charlotte is the child of the mess up that's going on within their family. And, you know, it's the kids picking up the banner and running with it. Again, the kids are doing it, you know, while the adults are sitting there procrastinating and wishy-washy and should I, shouldn't I, or getting a bit angry or getting a bit raw, or using videos to soften and blow it, or masking it out with alcohol, drugs, or just having a coffee and a fucking fag just even heals it. Do you know what I mean? That adults have to make a decision. So my decision is I'm going into the studio and I'm going to do a bunch of these fucking things on absolutely what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about freaking eating disorders? I'll show you how to overcome the eating disorders. You want to talk about drug addiction? I'll show you how to overcome it. You're dealing with trauma. Where that trauma comes from, I'll do some timeline therapy ones for you as well. I won't work with you on timeline therapy, because if I work with you on timeline therapy, it takes a lot of my time, and I would have to take you on a retreat and charge you and stuff like that. And there isn't anybody in this network that could afford the levels of it. Like, and it's sad. I would love to get lots of sponsorship for people to be able to come along and do timeline therapy. But one thing that I've learned as well, as a person who's tried healing, it is only when you actually invest in yourself does it truly. When you're running around looking for free pieces of information and the free bit of the pie and freeloading off this and freeloading of that, it actually makes your self-esteem worse. That when you actually can find your way to be self-sufficient, so you can make the decision. So if I want a bike that fits my kid right now, I can go to a bike shop and get them the bike they want, not having to wait for what might turn up on Marketplace, or what we can find at a car boot, or what's, you know, at a charity shop. Yes, the Lord blesses us, and, you know, but it's very difficult for the Lord to bless me for as long as I'm in a stressing and not in my blessings. And I need to be in my blessings, and a lot of this stuff causes me a lot of stressing. So yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of changeovers over my social media. I've just done the hardball stuff with you. I didn't go big or go home, because I've got children, so I've got to find a way now of being able to make money. And I don't mind my kids coming in the studio with me. That doesn't bother me. If I work for somebody else, they would mind my kids coming in the studio with me. I don't mind my children. In fact, it's not even I don't mind. I love my children being in my life. I love my children being in my life. I enjoyed painting with my kids yesterday, as disastrous as it got. That you know, we've created 3 walls in there, each to their own taste. It isn't what I would have chosen to have done to it. It looks like it's an art room. It looks like a dodgy art room. So, but yeah, you know, I just sometimes need somebody to watch my kids, and I'm quite happy to build these workshops, seminars, and events that I need to do back in my normal life. This is for my paying clients, but you know, I'm quite happy to now extend on to that, to make sure that we have the same going on in the room for the kids. So I'm quite happy to build and extend on that. Yes, it means it's going to cost my clients more money, because it's going to cost them childcare, blah, 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 you know, but they are paying clients. So, and now actually there was somebody who said, be careful, she's going to flip you all over to paying clients. Look, I came here as a coach. My kids were taken. Now I'm taking my life back. It's as simple as that. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet so many of you. It's been a pleasure, and I'm deeply grateful that people have taken their times to share their stories with me. I'm humbled that people have been able to give me perspectives of understanding that, you know, I'm not the only one going through this, and you know, and unfortunately, I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only one that's still in this complete array of, you know, where my kids, who's got my kids, what's going on with my kids, and every second counts with your kids. Because one of the reasons that I won't allow for Shalaja and Shiloh to enter into the pot of honey of the education system is the moment that they do, that honey sticks. And I don't have time for somebody to be interfering and molding the way that I wish for the boys to be raised. And I have a choice to raise my boys the way that I choose to raise them, and mine isn't to go down to Ark and drop them off at 9 o'clock and pick them up at 3:15 and you know, maybe get to the skateboard park for a couple of hours. You know, I would rather go to the skateboard park from 9 to 3 and maybe you know, pop along to a community event, a youth club or something later on in the evening, who knows. So anyway, I'm waffling now, so I have to go and get my fundamentals and foundations done. All my crack book is meant to be is the quotes of things that I've said, that's connected to my website, and you know, I might come on a live once a month, and pretty much all these vlogs and all these stuff, they're meant to be done in this. It's just that I give it to you for free. And the reason that I give it to you for free is that the reason that I give it to you free, why do I give it to you free? I give it to you for free because you'll never, ever, ever find this information otherwise. The education system, government, the media, and the rich people that keep it all packaged up to make sure. Before I go, let me do it with my phone. Before I go, very, very quickly, because I've got 25 minutes over. And I don't mind. It's a Saturday night. I haven't got much to do tonight. I've got shitloads to do, but I haven't, if you know what I mean. Keepers of the book. Let me see if I can find the. I don't make any money out of The Secret, by the way. I know the people, but I don't make any money out of it. And a lot of Christians don't like a lot of this stuff, but it is actually, and a lot of people will say it's all prosperity. It's got fucking to do with it. It's ignorance. Hang on. Let me see if I can find a 20-minute introduction, because it should be at the beginning of it. I haven't watched this for fucking ages. It might make you understand why people like me get persecuted. Where's the 20-minute clip? Sorry, 20. And then I'll end it on this. I'm not going to play the whole clip. Oh, it's gone. Seriously. No, okay. I don't actually want to play it all, just a clip from it that I want. Some of you might be familiar with The Secret anyway.
A year ago, my life had collapsed around me. I'd worked myself into
This actually comes from Wallace D. Wallace Science Getting Rich. It was just
my
that
relationships were in turmoil.
it's not the bit that I want.
Little did I know at the time,
It's this bit.
out of my greatest despair was to come the greatest gift.
In a minute. This bit. In a minute.
I'd been given a glimpse of a great secret. I began tracing the secret back through history.
It's your Freemasons shutting all the information down.
I couldn't believe all the people who knew this. They were the greatest people in history. Why doesn't anyone know this? All I wanted to do was share the secret with the world. I began searching for people alive today who know the secret. One by one, they began to emerge.
Anyway, I don't advocate some bits. There's, you know, but anyway, it's still all the same principle. And that is, the Bible won't tell you this. And the reason that the Bible won't tell you this is because the Bible was taken over and burnt a long time ago and replaced with a King James Bible. And why would there be another king if the Bible teaches there is only one king? So, and obviously the education system will never teach you this. And unfortunately, people through conspiracy worlds that try teaching you this do it from a fear-mongering point of view. And my world, where I live, usually doesn't do it from that point of view. What they do is they help you just understand where your belief systems come from and unravel them and work with them and get rid of all of that shit so the true self of you can come forward, and buried underneath all of the dogma and suppression and labels and names and you're this, you're that, you could be this, you could be that, and really bring back who that true spirit and soul that you were meant to be was. And it's yeah, it's a long journey. That's why I always say we should be raising children to be, you know, who they are and not when they grow up, because otherwise we never truly ever grow up. And unfortunately as well, the majority of children are growing up to undo the damage that's caused by the parents' education system, or they never actually ever really become who they should be because they just get pulled into the jobs world, and or children come along and responsibilities and things like that. So it's very, 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 very rare that we ever get the opportunity to take some time out and go, like, you know, I got a chance to really change my life here. Do you know what I mean? And nobody is going to come and hand this stuff to you on a plate. So if you do listen, then so be it. And the majority of Christians and church people will be very hypocritical. And I'm not here to shred any of that at all. People know my feelings, but you know, we all are here to thrive. You're not here to be a victim of your circumstances. You're not here to be told who you are. You're not here to live by somebody else's rules. You're here to live your life. You've got one life, so go live it. And on that note, I'm going to catch up with you all tomorrow, maybe. Take each day as it comes. So tomorrow never comes, really, does it? So when it does, it's today. So I shall see you all in after a half an hour, which will put it in tomorrow, but somewhere else in the country it's different. But I'm going to put that leave them alone up as well to show, you know, we do need to come together, but yeah, just we need to work on our interpersonal relationships, our relationships with our families and friends, and our relationship online on the internet should, and if you're using it as a job, that's different, and it should have schedules and time frames and things like that. It should never consume you, and that's where I've got to come in, and this is why I have to replace Amber, because Amber does not understand this, and it's too overwhelming and it's too difficult for me, and it's causing the consequences of my family life being broken, and I need my family to be the pinnacle of everything, and any person that works for us will work for us as a family, and not as me as an individual or Dean as an individual, it's be as a family. So that's if we come through as a family, but he'll always be my family anyway, whatever happens. He's the kids of my two boys, and we're going to be still raising them together whatever happens. And so, you know, he'll always be my family whatever happens. So anyway, catch you all later. Goodbye. And now I've just found out I am on my private account, not my public.